Hello and happy Thursday. I am Christy, GROW Nebraska's Business Development Director. Welcome to this month's third Thursday training. As promised, we have our 2019 MarkeTech keynote speaker, Amanda Bond, with us live today for a question and answer. I'll let Bond introduce herself here shortly. In the meantime, I just have a couple of housekeeping items. If you have not registered for this year's MarkeTech conference, you still have time. Early bird pricing is good until March 23rd. It's over $100 savings per ticket, so make sure you take advantage of that early bird pricing. You can get your tickets purchased at marketechconference.com. We have been promoting this conference for this question and answer for a couple weeks now, so we did have a handful of questions come in ahead of time. We will start with those. If you have any questions, you can submit them directly to me through the chat, or you can ask to be unmuted, ask your question to Bond. She will get it answered. I'll actually leave you unmuted the whole time in case you have a follow-up question to Bond. So we have Bond for 45 minutes to 60 minutes, I think, so let's take full advantage and ask her everything we have. Amanda, I am going to stop sharing my screen here and unmute you so you can take over and introduce yourself to our participants today.
Oh. Give me just confirmation that you can see me on the screen so that I know everything's connected correctly.
You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I am amped to be here. My name's Bond, and I'm going to be coming to hang out with all of you who are joining us at the MarkeTech conference live in April, and I'm just amped up about it. I am owner of the Strategist, which was originally a Facebook advertising agency where we ran people's Facebook ads, and we still do a little bit of fun campaign management in the background. But over the last few years, my focus has shifted to really empowering business owners to understand how to stop guessing and start getting results when it comes to Facebook ads. My secret obsession, though, is organic marketing, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that is wasting time and effort. And as business owners, we know, like, our time and effort, those resources are very scarce. So I want to come in and give you an actionable plan for what we're going to focus on. So I'm really excited to see everyone in person at MarkeTech. And then let's tackle some questions today as well.
Perfect. Okay, so we will just jump right in if you are ready for that.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so this was actually submitted to, we have a members exclusive group. So a lot of the people on the call today are members, some are not, but we do have a member exclusive group. And this one was asked a couple weeks ago, and I said, let's hold off. I want Bond herself to take this one. So this is what the member said. So far, all of my paid online advertising has been geared towards selling specific products versus Facebook or Instagram, or via Facebook or Instagram. It has gotten me a handful of sales, but far from what I have hoped for. Should I be taking more of a name recognition approach than pushing a specific product? I'm still in my first year of business.
Great question. So one thing that we have to remember when it comes to Facebook advertising is ads aren't a magic formula. As much as we really want them to be a magic formula and that it's going to help us get results overnight, we need to remember that it's only going to amplify what's already working in our business. So first off, let's just take a second and congratulate you that you have seen results from Facebook ads, even if it's a few sales. That means you're already headed in the right direction. But what I'm going to tell you, and what is probably going to be a theme throughout our time together, is I'm going to ask you to just pump the brakes before you start dumping more money into Facebook ads, and get really intimate with understanding what's happening on your website with your numbers in terms of the customer journey. So what does that look like? Well, if you have had sales from Facebook ads, I want you to understand how many people are clicking from your ad over to the sales page. I definitely want you to be running ads to specific products. There is a time and a place for branding, but if your ads to specific products don't convert, your branding ads will not give you any return on your money, and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. So let's figure out the metrics. You need to know how many people are clicking your ad, what your click-through rate is. And then from there, we need to understand, okay, they're on the landing page or the sales page or my website shop. How many of those visitors are then adding the product to your cart if it's a physical product? And then how many of those people that are adding it to your cart are then becoming customers? It's those numbers that will actually allow us to see what's really happening, right? Because if we look at, hey, we had 2,000 Facebook ad impressions and that equals 2 sales, there's a lot of holes and there's a lot of like missing gaps that we need to understand first. And that all just comes down to how many people are clicking through, how many people are landing on the shop, how many people are adding it to the cart, and then how many people are purchasing. I'm going to give some industry averages. This is going to differ based on what your industry is. So please don't take this as like law and the absolute Bible, but you want to have a click-through rate from the number of people seeing your ads to the number of people landing on that landing page of at least minimum 1%. So every 100 people seeing the ad, 1 person is clicking through. Ideally, you want to grow that to 2 or higher. And the way that we do that is we just create more persuasive copy and use better images and test different things along the way. So that's the first metric we're going to look at. The next metric is people landing on that sales page and then adding it to cart. You're going to want to see a pretty aggressive number here, and that's almost 10% of people. 1 in every 10 people adding that to cart. If they're not doing that, it's not necessarily an ads problem that you have, but what you need is more information, or to express to your clients or your potential customers, you need to express the value of your products or your services. So I'm going to give an example. If maybe somebody can pull it up in the comments and do a quick Google search for this brand. It's called Truvani, Truvani, and search for their marine collagen. It's a health product, but they do a wonderful example of really demonstrating the value of what their product actually is, right? Like, it gives a lot of information. It shows testimonials. It talks about the features and the benefits. It shows you the transformation that you can have through this. And it helps really get over that hump of 10% of people adding to cart. Then for the final number, you want to say, okay, of that 10% of people that are adding to cart, are we getting 40 to 50% of people purchasing? If you're not getting 40 to 50% of people purchasing, that is your potential customers having hesitation and having doubts about making that purchase transaction. Now, I do have some fun news because we're going to be covering this at the MarkeTech conference. I'm going to show you the exact ads to run to overcome those hesitations once people get to your sales page. So we're definitely going to show some examples and show you how you can bring in different angles and whatnot to encourage the people that are already on your site to come back and make that purchase decision. So essentially, I don't want you going into those branding ads and expanding your target audience until you know that the traffic you already have on your website is converting. I always like to think of it like this. Okay, I have a water bottle here. Let's pretend this is a bucket, right? A bucket with holes in it, dear Liza, whatever that analogy is. And it's got just holes absolutely everywhere. If you take more water or a hose and pour it in the bucket, aka more traffic by running Facebook ads, and you have all these holes, because we haven't looked at the numbers and fixed what was really happening on our sales pages, all of that potential revenue is just going to fall out the bottom. So I always say, slow it down, look at what's really happening behind the ads, because ads are only going to amplify what's not working. Fix those holes, patch them up so that when you now start to pour more water, you're keeping more of the water, aka the revenue, in the business overall.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, I think this kind of ties in. I'm going to jump around.
Perfect.
But they said, and maybe you just want to talk about this at MarkeTech. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but they said, can you give recommendations on how to create an ad that more people will engage with?
Ooh, okay. So I will talk about this. Actually, one of our presentations is geared around the step-by-step of figuring this all out. But what it comes down to is testing everything relentlessly. It's not an easy answer. It's a very simple answer, aka, okay, I just test everything, but it takes time and it takes effort. So the easiest way for us to do that is to experiment organically, aka just posting stuff for free on our Facebook page and then measuring the engagement rate. Actually, let me pull up my Facebook page and I'm going to show you how to do that live. So what I would recommend is to create compelling copy, to create compelling ads that convert. We already have to know what's working. And the best way to do that is just go to your Facebook page and look at what the content you're already creating is telling you. So you hit this little Insights tab here. And once you're on Insights, you're going to scroll down and Facebook has this great section called your 5 most recent posts. In your 5 most recent posts, you scroll over to the right here and there's this little arrow. There we go. You can see it better now. There's this little arrow. We're going to give that a click. And once we do, it's literally going to just show you every single post that you've ever posted on your Facebook page from the start of time. Now, beside this little red box here, there's the yellow, blue, and red one. There's this drop down. And at the bottom, there's something here called engagement rate. When we click on that, it's going to show us how many people engaged with our content versus how many people saw it. So if I look at 7% engagement rate, that means that 7 people out of 100 eyeballs took an action on this post. So what I recommend you do is go look at what you're already posting, go look at what's already doing well, and then use that as inspiration to create your content, like to create your images, to create your copy, but experiment, right? Because what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you. What works for you might not work for your neighbor. So it does take time and effort to really understand what your audience resonates with. And like I said, we have an entire presentation at MarkeTech all about diving into this organic engagement so that we can set up our ads well. I wish there was a simpler answer like, oh, you just write this and then you get better results. It takes time. It's going to take effort. And it takes looking at what's already working and then just amplifying that. So I'm a big believer in using my Facebook page, not necessarily from a content calendar. I plan it out a month at a time. I just use it as an experimentation ground, right? The goal of my Facebook page here is to cultivate community. And I just do that by putting content out there that resonates, not with selling my products or services. That's what my ads do. They'll follow up with people and sell my products and services. But I need people's attention, as you do. You need people's attention on your brand overall to then take those people that have raised their hand and said yes, I'm interested in this, to then target with ads afterwards. So the best way to see what will work better with ads is just to come here into insights and kind of scroll down. Like I said, you can see more, and it will just go back since the beginning of your Facebook page there. So like I said, I wish I had a simpler answer. Here's a copy and paste template that works really well. However, every single time that we've done copy and paste templates, wah, wah, is how they performed, right? Because each brand is so different. So I just want to encourage you to take the time. You don't have to post like a crazy person. You don't have to be posting 7 different times a day on your Facebook page, but I prefer that you do quality over quantity. Oh my gosh, I almost just blanked on what the heck that saying was. Quality over quantity. And here's a fun trick that I do on my own page. If I post something and it gets no engagement, no likes, no comments, no shares, no clicks, what I actually do is copy and paste it. I put it in my like Evernote notebook or your iNotes or whatever the heck they're called on a Mac. I delete the post entirely. And then 24 hours later, so the next day, I go look at the copy, the written words that I copied and pasted. And I ask myself, what wasn't clear about this to really engage people? What was muddy? What was hard to understand? And it's that reflection that really helps you get stronger in understanding your audience's needs so that you know what to write when it comes to marketing copy so that you don't sound like a spammy McMarketerson. So it just all comes down to that.
Now, a follow-up to that is there an engagement rate we should strive for?
Ooh, industry-wide engagement rates are like 1%. So as you can see, on my page, engagement rate is like my number one metric that I look for. So if I'm not hitting 15, 20%, I'm pretty hard on myself. But I do encourage you, because there's a direct correlation with engagement and reach. We're going to talk again about why reach is not dead. It's not pay to play. Most marketers who say that are just being those spammy McMarketersons and are phoning it in and being super salesy. What you really need to focus on is just improving month over month, right? So if you are currently at 0.5%, perfect. Just try and get to 0.75%. And then try and get to 1%. Like you're not on my journey. I'm not on your journey. So the only person that you need to beat is yourself last month. That's like, I don't want you guys stressing out because you're not at a certain benchmark yet. Just strive for small incremental improvements because that's where the momentum is going to start to build. And I'll be perfectly honest, it took me time. It took months to get the Facebook page to a place where it's a community and where I know that I can post something, and based on all of the analysis that we've done, all of the reflection, I say analysis, but it's really not that scary of a word. It's me just reading posts and saying, how can I write this better next time? Like that's analysis in my books. But it's taken months to do that over and over and over again. But let me tell you, the ROI of just trying to beat yourself month over month, your business is going to look totally different in a year and 2 years. And I know that if you're on this live stream, if you're attending the event, if you're part of this group, like you are the person that is here for the long run. You wouldn't be investing in your business if you weren't. So I'm not saying go out and recreate the wheel. Just take small, tiny steps to improve your engagement day over day, week over week, month over month. And be prepared because it's going to dip sometimes and you're going to be like, why am I not figuring this out? And just stay the course because, right? Like we need to understand over time really what our audience needs, because when we understand the audience needs, we're able to support them and really help them create transformation in their lives through our products and services. So there's no like you have to be at this rate. Just keep improving day over day.
Perfect. Now we're going to take a step back here with this one.
Okay.
What do I do first to start advertising on Facebook?
Ooh, this is a goodie. Okay. So the first thing that you do is you put your credit card away. That's number one. And then you ask yourself this. You need to figure out this mathematical formula, and it is your earnings per lead. Okay? If you don't understand what your earnings per lead, or if you have an e-commerce business where you're selling products, your earnings per click, if you don't understand that number, you're not going to know if you will be profitable running Facebook ads. I've had the privilege of looking in ad accounts where after a quick understanding of their business, I would see what their lead costs or what their click costs were. And then I would do a little digging and ask what their earnings per lead or their earnings per click were. And they were losing double their money just by spending on ads because nobody stopped to ask what our earnings per lead are. So how you calculate that is, let's start with earnings per lead. You take your total revenue of, actually, let me back up even further. If you're going to be spending money on Facebook ads, the first thing that you need to do is understand the sales process, right? Like, do you need somebody to book a consultation because you do exterior home painting, right? And that booked consultation means that they submit their name and email and phone number, and then you schedule a consultation, and then you go to their home, and then you quote them, and then they might purchase, right? We need to figure out what that customer journey looks like first. And then we need to understand, okay, if our goal is to book consultations, or if our goal is to get somebody into our orthodontic office, right? Like that is a lead to us. We need to first define what a lead is. And then we need to calculate the total revenue that process has earned our business and divide it by the total number of leads that we had in a time period. So let's say we're going to track for the last 90 days how much revenue we have brought in. And we're also going to track how many appointments or how many consultations we booked, right? Doesn't matter if they showed up. We need to know how many people booked a consultation. So you take the total revenue in the last 90 days and you divide it by the total number of people that booked in the last 90 days. That there is your earnings per lead. And that's going to tell you if you can afford Facebook ads. Because Facebook ads, like I said earlier, aren't magic, it's math. So if we run an ad and it's costing us $200 to book a consultation, but the lead, right, like the consultation is only worth $100 to the business, we actually have to slow down because we can't profitably run Facebook ads. And like I said, I'm going to tell you more often than not, pump the brakes and go back to figuring out your sales process and your customer journey, because ads are only an amplifier. So once you know your earnings per lead, let's say we had a client who's an orthodontist, his earnings per lead were like, I think it was like $3,000 because it was about like an 80% show up rate to the actual consultations that were booked. And then from the 80%, about 50% of people booked in the treatment. So about 40% of their overall leads ended up having orthodontic care, right? So his earnings per lead were about $3,000. Now, of course, he has to take into account staffing, and he has to take into account the advertising costs, the office costs, like all of the different costs that we have or the expenses that we have as business owners. But he realized that he could spend up to $500 per consultation and still be profitable at the end. So when you know, okay, I don't have to stress about like super low cost leads, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, or not misinformation, but there's a lot of people glorifying really low cost leads. They're like, oh, I got leads for $2, or oh, I got like clicks for 10 cents. I will tell you, I will spend $50 a lead all day, every day, if that lead is returning me $300, right? So you really need, and this has kind of been a trend in some of my answers, you really need to look at the numbers before you start spending on ads. If you've then identified that your earnings is about 5 to 10 times higher than your cost per lead, that's the green light to start running Facebook ads. And of course, at MarkeTech, we're going to show you the exact ad sequence that we run for people to get them from not knowing about your brand to really understanding what it is you do, and then helping people make purchase decisions and overcoming those objections along the way. So again, another one, slow it down before you speed up. I feel like almost that should be a good thing, because a lot of us who actually, I just started trying to figure out Pinterest ads, and I said to somebody, I was like, is this what people feel like when they're first figuring out Facebook ads? To which they responded, mm-hmm. Right? Like Facebook ads can feel daunting. So I'm giving you permission to slow it down, to look at the business as a whole, and then slowly start making decisions about ad buying, not from a place of panic, but from a place of empowerment, because you're like, oh yeah, I know that my earnings per lead is high enough to support advertising. So now let's start to slowly add in some budget, slowly amplify our results as we go.
So I feel like you might cringe with this question, but we'll see how you take it. It might be the whole put your credit card away, but what is the difference between boosting and creating an ad, and should I boost?
Love this question. Okay. Actually, I recently filmed a segment at Forbes about why you shouldn't boost. So I'm super amped for that to come out. If it does, we'll definitely share it with you guys to add to the Facebook group. But Facebook boost button is like, do you guys have Staples in the States?
We do.
Okay, so you know the easy button, like the red easy button?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is Facebook's easy button. They put boost, and funny, I can see it on my Facebook page right beside the Zoom monitor right here, boost post. That is them saying, oh, you would like to get more engagement? Wait, did you just say engagement, Facebook? Yeah, it's not Facebook saying, hey, would you like more purchases? It's Facebook saying, hey, would you like more people to like, comment, share, click on your ad? Like, it does not have anything to do with purchases. It's Facebook's easy button to say, oh, you want to get in front of more eyeballs? Cool, we have eyeballs. Let's do that. So I don't recommend boosting, because what happens is people tend to phone it in. They see it as the easy answer, and they don't take the time to really think it through, put the credit card away, pump the brakes, and get strategic, right? If you're going to put ads out there, we like to have you think of 3 different phases of ads first. We call it connect, commit, and close, okay? So connect ads are all about branding, but they're the last ads that you ever run. Commit ads are all about getting people into your sales process. So maybe into your practice, maybe getting an email address from them in exchange for like a checklist or a PDF, or booking a discovery call or a consultation. And then the close phase when it comes to ads is all about retargeting. So when you first start running ads, you're like, I don't let anyone think about the connect phase, think about the lead generation phase in the commit phase, until we know that this product can sell. So if you hit boost, you are playing in the connect field, right? Like the audience growth. area. And I always say it is backwards for somebody to say, build an audience and then sell them something. No, understand how to sell something and then build an audience around that. Okay. So don't go out and hitting the boost button when it's just going to like get you a few likes, comments, and shares. Slow down, understand if I'm going to give my money, like this thing that I value, I want to know with certainty that one, I can afford it because I know my earnings per lead or my earnings per click for e-com. And two, I'm going to get results, right? And that just requires slowing down to speed up along the way. Does that clarify the difference between the boost and like doing it in Ads Manager?
I think so. If anyone has anyone else has follow up to that, send it to me and I'll make sure Bond gets the question. This one did come in. So is that the same as when I see a sponsor on my feed that no one else sees?
Yes. So anytime you see underneath of a post that says sponsored, that is somebody, they could have hit the boost button. We don't know. Or they could have done an ad inside of the Ads Manager. Either or, it is paid to be in your timeline. And they've chosen that specific targeting. So they might say, if you're a woman who lives in Nebraska, they might say target the women who live in Nebraska. And that's why you're seeing that ad. So you as business owners can do that same thing. Let's say you have a local business and you do business within a 5 to 10 mile radius. Well, you can say to Facebook, hey, here is my zip code or here is my address. Let's target people within a 5 to 10 mile radius, right? It's as simple as that. So whenever you see sponsored, that means somebody is paid to amplify it. This is like an unrelated thing, but one thing that I absolutely love doing when it comes to ads, it's called stealth ads, where you make an ad from your Facebook page, right? Like you make a regular post from your Facebook page, but it doesn't have that little rectangular image, the ones that you see all the time in the ads. Profile picture, a little bit of copy, words written, and then that rectangular picture with like a call to action button. Everyone does those ads. So what I love doing is going to my Facebook page. I do an organic post that just might be text, right? And it looks like when I post that, even though it's coming from a business page, it looks like it could be coming from a friend or a family member. So it doesn't feel as markety McMarketerson. It feels very friendly. So yes, we did that organically on our Facebook page, but I don't hit boost. What I do is there's a little ID. Actually, I'll screen share. I will screen share an example of an ID. So any post that you do organically, by clicking the date, okay, so just by clicking the date here, what's going to happen is up here where the URL is at the top, after it says facebook.com, after it says your page name, after it says posts, there's going to be this 13-digit number. And what you can do is you just copy and paste that number and you take it into Ads Manager and you just say, hey, Facebook, I want to get in front of people in a 5 to 10 mile radius with this post that I did on my Facebook page. It's just more strategic and it's just more targeted. And hey, if you saw this with sponsored underneath of it, yes, it might not be directly leading you off to my website yet, but you would probably engage with that ad much more than if you just saw something that was clearly trying to sell you that you've never even heard before, right? So these stealth ads are like my favorite thing to do. And if you want to check out a few of the ones that I'm running, I highly recommend you creep my current ads that are running. You go to facebook.com/the ad strategist. I'll just pop that in the chat. And info and ads, if you click that at the side, you can actually see what different ads we have running at any given time. So there you go. A few of them don't even have, a lot of them don't even have images. Okay, there's a few here, right? So these are all very purposeful and very strategic. They all, achieve our business objectives because we know things like understanding our earnings per lead, because we show up in a way that engages our audience. And because we don't press boost, we very strategically target people inside of Ads Manager, which is a platform that takes time. I'm not going to say it's difficult. It's just a new platform. So it will take time to understand as you go. So that's a little fun fact about stealth ads that we love running.
I have to tell you, this question and answer is making me even more excited to have you join us at MarkeTech. This is incredible.
Thank you. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, so excited. Okay, so this one says, my Facebook ad account is locked due to suspicious activity. How do I unlock it? The activity was my wife, and she was trying to do ad stuff.
Oh, I hear this one all the time. So one, you're not alone. I'm sorry that it happened. Every time this does happen to people, and if they have a Facebook rep, this is what Facebook says to them: start a new ad account. I wish it was more technical than that. You can try to appeal it. There should be a way for you to go into the ad account where it shows you that it's been disabled and request an appeal. Most times we've just seen that Facebook still denies it, and then the reps are like, just create another ad account. So that's what I've been told from Facebook. So I'm going to pass on that insight to you as well.
Could you do a quick, this is how you create a new Facebook ad account?
Yes. That's a great question. I haven't actually created one in a long time. Let me pull it up on the screen. Okay. This is a good question. Now you're putting me on the spot. I like it. Where the heck would you go? It's likely going to be different for people with business managers. So a normal ad account doesn't look like this. I might recommend somebody go to business manager. So I would just do a quick Facebook business manager, figure out how to sign up for it here. It's going to take me right into it because I already have one. But if you don't have a business manager, it's going to say set one up. And then as you can see, you can create different businesses within one business, different businesses within one business manager. And then under these businesses, you can actually have multiple ad accounts. So if I click that, you can see that I have 4 different ad accounts underneath of that. So you might be able to go, let me move the chat out of the way. You would have to go likely to business settings, so business manager settings. And then you would just go down to add account and then click add. That looks like it would probably be the same. As you can see, my account was disabled just because it was inactive. We were using one of these just to film some of our training content so that there was no client data or our own personal data in the training videos, but they're like, you're not running ads from that. So we just shut it down. So you could potentially visit this ad account and then appeal it. But if not, you can just click add and create a new ad account. So that's the business manager way to do that. I would recommend a quick Google of how do I add another personal ad account if you don't want to deal with some of the technicalities of the business manager side of the equation.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Have you heard of any Facebook ad pyramid schemes? You get so many you buy so many ads and get so much money free.
What is happening in this conversation? Who's hearing about this? people asking you to run ads from your account?
I think what it's saying is if you spend so much on Facebook advertising, you'll get so much free Facebook advertising, I believe.
Yeah, I would be.
Maybe I'll open that up to, this was pre-submitted. So if you are on and this is your,
That'd be awesome.
To elaborate, that would be great.
Yeah.
We'll move on. If we don't hear back, we'll try to read this again. And
perfect. I will just give I know there is one kind of scam that happens where people reach out to just normal people that have Facebook profiles and they ask to run ads from your account. Never do that. Like, do not give somebody permission to run anything from your ads account that you don't have control over. And actually, I'll take this one further. If you ever hire people to run your ads for you, never let them run it from their ad account. Create an ad account that you own, that you control, and make them an advertiser. You can just grant them advertiser access versus them holding all the data, right? Because what happens is when you run Facebook ads, you grow these audiences that are really valuable. These audiences of people that you can retarget. So if somebody likes, comments, or shares a Facebook post of mine, Facebook records those people that took that action, and I can put an ad in front of them for the next year because they're part of this group. So if you have an advertiser who is running the ads from their account, they could be messing up those audiences. And then what if anything bad happened, or there was a messy break, or the contract, whatever can happen with client relationships, like that data goes with them. So if you're going to hire it out, create your own ad account. I would recommend doing it in Business Manager versus just like attached to your personal page. And then you grant them or anyone accessing it, even on your team, advertiser access so that you like maintain control. Because how many horror stories have we heard about Facebook pages getting locked out and different things getting locked out because somebody, it used to happen all the time in some local Facebook groups I was a part of. Oh, somebody's locking me out of my own account because they said I did XYZ. No, I don't want you guys to get in that. So always retain ownership because I want you protected when it comes to outsourcing this stuff.
I'm really glad you brought that up. We have a lot of local agencies that are trying to sell this platform where they can show you all of your analytics for this, and this, but that it all has to be on their site. And so we tell them to stay away, but I'm glad that you brought that up as well. Did you see Cammie's question in the comments? Do you want to take that one next?
Sure. I didn't read it yet. So is the percentage of Facebook videos that get seen still 80% versus just verbiage in the post? So the stealth post. Do you know the statistics for posts with emojis versus just words? Great question. And really, you're going to read everywhere. You might read on like BuzzSumo that this is the most popular thing. Actually, I think it was about a month ago, Social Media Examiner was doing a breakdown on their talk show, and I was a guest that day, and they were doing the breakdown of like the BuzzSumo, the most engaging types of content. And it was funny because they were like, we analyze millions of XYZ, and here are the definitive results. When we look to industry leaders or content creators like that, and they've taken a segment of the audience that's so broad, what happens is they're giving you data based on average results, right? Like 1 million pages. Out of those 1 million pages, some of them are probably dead. Some of them are probably scheduled. Some of them are probably like nobody even cares about. Nobody's even maintaining those. So sometimes those stats are vastly skewed and can lead us astray, right? So I don't like to ever look at what another brand is doing. Like I said before, it doesn't matter what the industry standard for engagement rate is, as long as you are growing it for yourself week over week, month over month, year over year. That's the only thing that I want you to focus on. So my answer to this, Cammie, is literally like test everything. I would test two posts, super similar. I would add emojis to one and I wouldn't add emojis to the other. And then I would just measure the results. I would do a Facebook video and then I would do a stealth ad or a stealth post. You can do them on your page just with text and then compare the results. And heck, they're even going to compound, right? Like if you do a video and then you do a stealth post and then you do a post with loads of emojis, it's all going to just build this momentum together. So I think by saying, hey, only do this one type of content, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're missing out on all of these potentials that your audience might like adore. They said in that BuzzSumo report that short form on Facebook is best, which I was shocked because a lot of our most engaging posts are at least 500 words. 500, that's a blog post worth of words, right? So if that is for our page, I don't want you guys just like taking things as law. Test, like have fun, go be social on social media, but then amplify what's working and then just cut the rest. Like I'm a big believer. I don't have a content calendar. I don't create content for the sake of content. Everything that I do on my own Facebook page is out of inspiration. If I'm feeling inspired to share something, that's when I go post. And if you look at my page, I think it's been like 2 weeks since I posted on my page. That's okay because it's all about quality over quantity. And when you pair your organic efforts, growing those warm custom audiences, that engagement, those video viewers, again, we're going to talk about all of this at MarkeTech with loads of screen shares so that you can see it. When you're focused on that and then you just have like a really tight ninja ad sequence on the end of it, you don't have to spend so much time and effort like showing up and being a slave to your social channels. You can get back to being a business owner and just use social to help amplify your business goals.
Perfect. Now it looks like I only have one more on my pre-submit list, so this might be it, but this says, does Facebook have a way to create graphics for us, or do we have to have a designer?
Ooh, great question. And I believe I reported on this not too long ago on the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, but it was in the summer. So I can't recall what the tool is called. In a Facebook Ads Manager, I know that there's this thing where you can take static images and your logo and some copy, and it will make like one of those animated video type of graphics. That's on the ad side of the equation. I don't believe organically that they do have those options, but I know that there's tons of apps out there that are free that you can just find on the App Store that will help you add text, that will help you put motion to your images or like fade in and out. So I don't personally have any recommendations on those, but I know that there's lots of places out there to be able to get really creative with when it comes to graphics. Canva, if you've not heard of Canva, canva.com, free like graphic design platform. It is amazeballs. Yes, I just said amazeballs because it's absolutely free. It's got like a bunch of this clip art. What was that thing called back in the day? Like not MS Paint, like Illustrator or something. You know what I'm talking about, like back in the 90s. There was this thing that had a lot of clip art, right? It's like that, but updated. You can change it to your brand colors. You can add your brand fonts. You can change the size. You can choose any, like back in the day when I was a social media manager, I think I was designing, I know that I designed in Canva these PDF handouts for a political campaign. It was like, it was a local politician that I was working for from my Rotary Club. It was how I got a lot of social media experience. And I'm like, okay, I have to figure out how to put this, I can't even remember what it was. These like 3 step-by-step instructions that people needed, and then they needed to make a donation or something. I designed it for free in Canva. yes, it took it took time. So I always like to remind people everything, no matter if it's ads, no matter if it's organic, no matter if it's graphics, it takes, like, you pay one of two ways. You either pay with your time, AKA you do it yourself and you hustle, or you pay with your money. And so you just have to reflect and say, like, where am I in my business? What value would I get out of it doing it either way? And then just make a decision based on that, right? Like, maybe a designer off of like Upwork could be a reasonable middle ground between like hiring somebody full-time or like hiring a professional to get graphics out there. But there's loads. I know I just went off on a crazy tangent there, but there's loads of free tools. Facebook has one for ads. And then there's some reasonable costs, like professionals out there that could help you with that as well.
Perfect. This has been incredible. This 50 minutes has been so fun. And I feel like everyone that has stuck with us has learned a lot. This has been great. We are so excited to see you in a couple weeks in the United States.
Right?
I have to ask, how many times, I know you come for, you're coming for the big conference out in San Diego. How many times are you coming to the US this year?
I mean, passing through or like final destination.
Well,
between now
conferences, like
between now and MarkeTech, I'll be in San Diego twice, and then I'm coming to see you guys. So this year is actually a little bit less. Last year I was in the States probably every 3 to 4 weeks, maybe even more sometimes. Like at one point it was 3 weeks back to back that I was in the States. I love it. Actually, just this is a completely unrelated side fact. Because I'm Canadian, I always used to be terrified to say I was coming to the States for business, right? Because of course the border like patrol officers. Now I'm just like, I'm going to the States for business. And so when they ask me the last time I came, it was for a blogging conference. Oh, you should have seen the reaction of the customs officer. I was like, I'm coming to speak at a conference about blogging? And he just looked at me like, what do you mean? And I was like, like websites that you create and you write about things. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure that's a thing. And I was like, needless, or what, like, you don't know, but that's like a multi-million-dollar industry. So yeah, it's a thing. Blogging is a thing. Internet marketing is a thing.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're very excited to have you. I'm glad that we can have you in the Midwest and that our members don't have to fly out to San Diego to see you. We are very excited, and I can't wait to see what else you teach us. So thank you very much for your time today.
I'm so excited to be there. So if anyone has questions between now and then, feel free to message the Facebook page. I already chatted. I'm going to forget her name. A lovely woman who makes these gorgeous candles, like barn candles. Do you know who I'm referencing?
Well, it's probably the Barn Candle Company.
We chatted for a while. Oh, I'm so excited to see her in person. So please reach out to me if you have any other questions. We're going to have an awesome time, and I'll see you so soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, I do have